looks weird. Alrighty then. Hi, hello. I'm firelotusthewitch. And yes, I know. The color that I have right here for some reason is not showing up like this. So, anyways, we're just going to ride through it. We're going to ignore it, okay? So, hi, hello. I'm firelotusthewitch. I've been doing these for about 4 years total. First year here on YouTube. Super fucking excited about that. I have to fix this light because it's bugging me. There we go. Actually, okay, yeah, no, we need it. Okay, hi, hello. I'm Firelotus the Witch. I've been doing these for that long. During these lives, we kind of go over everything spirituality. Good morning, everything spirituality, witchcraft, everything we go over. Today, on the other hand, we're kind of going to go back to the basics a little bit, if you will. Hello, everybody, and good morning. I'm doing great. Again, I apologize for the look. For some reason, silver shows up better than the gold that I have. But hello, hello. Okay, so even though I'm taking a break on TikTok, good morning. I'm still, I still scroll. And there is this huge conversations that have been starting. For one, Hakate, she is awakening in a lot of people. Like, I've seen video after video, but specifically, I've been wanting to talk about this, and this will also help any beginners or anybody who needs to go back to the basics and kind of understand a couple of things. Now, before I say this, this is going to be different depending on the practice you are actually practicing, specifically with like Wicca and stuff like that. But casting circles. Why do we cast circles? Two most common answers. Well, for protection and to create a sacred space. And they're not wrong. But one of the main reasons of casting a circle, I see a dumb amount of videos who follow Loki and Hekate. Honestly, same. There's a joke going around that like Hekate is the queen of TikTok because she's like the most talked about deity. Yes, they really are. And even like me, I've been doing this for almost 20 years. Basically, I'm in the 18 to 19 stage, or year span. And I always go back to the basics a lot of times. Like when I went through the 2 year spiritual awakening and I went and took care of my grandmother, I actually went to one of the basic books that I have and just started from scratch and like reread everything. My video on circle casting is for keeping energy contained until you need to release it. I'm going to talk about that too because it's extremely true as well. So, like they just said, the one of the main reasons for a circle to be actually formed is because as above, so below. When you create that, you are creating a bubble. The point of that circle, specifically, primarily in high magic or ritualistic magic, it also goes with the eightfold path, which is what? Certain things that alter your perception, and it builds energy. So when you cut that circle or release that circle, it's almost like an explosion of energy going out into the cosmos, right? But what other people don't talk about is why it's so important for a magician, a witch, whatever you call yourself, to do this. It's because you're making a, I'm gonna butcher this term, linear space. It's a space in between, just like when you walk, when you're halfway through a door, or it's the only part of high magic I actually like. Same, honestly, same. But you know how like when you walk into a room and you just completely forget what you were talking about? Kind of like that. Okay. Technically, that right there is just your brain resetting to like factory connections because of the new scenery. But specifically, you're creating your own world. You're creating a pocket outside of the living and the dead, if you will. This also goes with what? Crossroads. That is why crossroads are so potent and can be extremely powerful in your practice or even a circle. It's because you're creating a bubble that is outside of reality and it's on your own reality. Now, obviously, yes, it can protect you. But like we just said, the main point of the circle in itself is to build and build and build. We've all heard the story of the cone of power that helped prevent a war in England. That is the point of that. The more you dance around using a drum, meditation, primarily it needs to be a physical action. In casting the compass using a stag, for anybody who doesn't know what a stag is, it is, depending on the witch, it's actually their portable altar, but it is a stick that splits between just like that, right? So after they've cast their compass, which is a traditional witch's way of basically a circle, except, and I love this concept, it's not closed off. So a lot of practitioners they no longer use circles because they sense that if you cast a circle, you're severing it, right? Versus letting that energy flow. So a compass has 3 different rings, but they're all split in a 4-way cross, which means the energy can come through as much as it wants. But a technique that they do with their stag is they'll place their stag in the center of it, put their head to it, and they will walk around. It's the exact same thing that I've talked about in another live. When, you know, when you're younger, especially if you watch Practical Magic, the scenes in there, like what does love feel like? Or what does love feel like? You know how you're spinning around with your arms open? You're going in an in-between state because you're literally twisting and warping time, space, however deep you want to go with that, around you, and you're putting yourself in it in between. Some shamanisms, not all, but some shamanisms do this. It's kind of like a medicine wheel with the opening in it. Exactly like that, because they like that energy to flow inward and outward. And it honestly doesn't matter. Now, the one thing I will say, if you do have a sacred space outside, stop using salt. If you add too much salt to soil, you will basically razz it. A lot of the times in like the king, when we used to have castles and stuff like that, that was one of the techniques that they would use to actually get people to come out of their castle. If they're holding them in there trying to take over the entire castle, they would dump a shit ton of sand all around that castle. That way nothing would be able to grow. So start looking into alternatives. Start looking for things that are specifically that can help the earth around you. Cornmeal, I would say like a natural fertilizer. It can be anything. Just make sure it's not salt. There's also a very controversial scientific evaluation of salt because we were told that salt absorbs all energy. It is true. Salt absorbs all energy, not just negative and not just positive. It absorbs it all. So with that, here's a little question for you. If you were to cast a full circle of salt, would it neutralize the energy in a whole? So just kind of play with that all day today. So does charcoal. Yes, charcoal. See, I did not know that about charcoal, actually. Ooh, that's interesting. Now, another cool thing that I've done, and eventually it will basically, you could create a compost. Yes, I love that. Compost manure. Or my very first, technically it was my second circle. All the major circles that I created when I was in Alabama, I used, oh, I love that. I love that. Never thought of that either, using eggshells. I actually went around to pick up fallen tree branches, and I would break them into the parts. I would kind of do like this little, like small little ditch, if you will, around the circle, and then I would put the sticks there. Eventually, they're going to break down, and, well, if you pick the right wood that's been infested with the spores, you'll actually also create a ring of mushrooms, a fairy ring. But I've done it. I love doing it. I've also used pine straw. The circle that I have now, it's a mixture of leaves and dirt. And then eventually I'm going to plant flowers around it to where periodically throughout the year, there's going to be a thing. I'm huge into energy work, so my circles are energetic. I love that too. You can also do that. Now, there's something that they don't really talk about anymore in books. True enough, I don't read Wiccan books, but you can also, once the circle is done, because we all try to be as prepared as everything, but we always wind up leaving something outside of the circle. Fear not, even if the circle has been cast. Use this, your pointing finger and or whatever tool you have, and literally cut a door. I'm literally saying cut a door into the circle, pop out of it, it closes behind you energetically, do the same thing, you can step back in it without actually disrupting that energy of the circle. And everybody is going to be different, but using circles can also help with energetic work, because even if you have a hard time visualizing in your head, I almost said just imagine, but make it feel like you're walking in a bubble, as above, so below. And visualize this as a zipper. Oh, I love that too. I absolutely love that. Oh, I love this conversation. Now with this, before I go into this, YouTube, educational content only. I'm not in any way, shape, or form encouraging people to go out and do what I'm about to say, but it needs to be talked about. So there's this video going around, and a lot of people believe this. You'll eventually see it. And it's kind of controversial because it's that new age thing that I hate, which somehow has bled off into veganism, vegetarianism, and all this other shit, which is, if you drink alcohol or consume alcohol, it will basically throw you back 8 steps in your spiritual journey. That is bullshit. The reason they get this, some cultures do believe in the translation of alcohol is soul eater. We know this, but with everything including magic and mundane, And actually anything, including water that we put in our body, we have to make sure there's a fine balance behind it. Why am I bringing this up? Because that practitioner went into saying that if you do alcohol, or basically if you're not, exactly, you knew exactly where I was going with this. If you're not eating healthy and you're using chemicals and all this other shit, it fucks up your spiritual. That's bullshit. Why? Paganism. Most ancient and Greek and Roman, most of their celebrations, the ancient ones, what did they used to do? They used to get drunk off their fucking minds. Why? It alters the state of your mind. Now, this is even advanced more, and it's highly illegal as well. Same, I drink wine at nighttime. I also drink it with my ancestors. I have a newer thing that I'm doing with whiskey, which I'll eventually get into. Not drinking it, but using it in my practice. And then I also partake Delta 8. It's legal here in Florida. I was saying that to YouTube. I use those two to also help me relax and get me in that certain state. Now, this is the educational point. YouTube, okay? Please do not take this video down. Please do not flag it. I'm not encouraging anybody to go out and do this. But other subjects, what you said, because I cannot mention it, that other things to where it takes you up or takes you down. People, specifically, I've seen a lot of chaos practitioners do it. High magic practitioners do it. They will use these certain things to alter their perception. I do not encourage you to do that unless you do your own amount of research. Obviously, don't get arrested and don't do anything illegal. But it needs to be talked about, because this push where, oh, well, if you're taking the medication from pharmaceuticals from your doctor, then you need to stop because it's stunting your growth. No, it's not. Because if you do not have a healthy mind state, as in a physical mind, you're not going to be able to, exactly, natural herbs, you're not going to be able to perform magic. If you're in a depressive state, some people can, I can too, but it's better to be on a healthy regimen. With that, though, it doesn't mean that you have to go out, and if you can afford it, and if you can, by all means, go out, eat organic, and all the other shit. Good cheese with everything you need, both in your craft. Exactly. I'm always lucky and entitled. I enjoy just eat back to my body. Oh, I love this. But if you have the ability to eat healthy and all natural and organic, by all means, you do that. But that shit's expensive as fuck. Like, we walked into a grocery store, it was last year actually, and they had this like cute little vegan display. 6 vegan hot dogs in a can were $16. Do you know what I could do with that $16 at Dollar Tree? It may not be healthy, but you know what? It's food. But there's this concept where if you use deodorant and all this other shit, it's new age stuff that they believe that you have to have this pure thing. And what happens when normally we come across things to where they say you need to be pure? Normally, historically, it's linked with a lot of not safe rhetoric, put it that way. Recommended high alkaline diet. I've heard of that. Now, the cool thing is vegan diet is expensive. I follow slightly cost. I do the best that I can, at least. It's overpriced and more damaging to the environment. Exactly. And I mean, that's going to be different with everybody. But like, legit me, we live outside of the grocery store, Hitchcock's, and Dollar General. Like, straight up. Now, my partner will bring me fruit home because he gets it at Publix a lot. Meds mess with your mind state. He's talking total of 11 medications as we speak. But yes, fasting, all of these things, that it can help. But my partner fucked with me a little bit because he's like, well, we don't have anything to worry about when it comes to fluoride. I did correct him, but he goes, if you have a well, you have natural water. True enough, it is probably contaminated. And yes, fluoride, there's still a debate if it actually calcifies your actual pineal gland. They recently found out that there are actual crystals in your pineal gland. But again, these are things that get us paranoid about, well, we have to do this and we have to do that. I have been using normal fucking toothpaste since I started this journey. I have been on all different types of medications prescribed by a doctor. I've been on heavy antipsychotics. The only thing that ever affects my personal craft, stress and self-doubt. Those two things right there will fucking hurt anybody when it comes to their personal craft. But, and then kind of also turning this back around to what we were originally talking about, only fast if your doctor says it's safe. Yes, please do not do anything like that. Like, Yes, 100% with that. Um, I've actually never fasted. And even with fasting, when it comes to like the herbal detox and stuff like that you can find online and shit like that, research the fuck out of it, please. And be safe. I stand by doing what I feel is best for my body. Exactly. And see, I love that. Like actually, probably in the next month in July, I'm also gonna go through my own detox. But let's just say I'm going from the stuff that I buy at a store to just straight CBD because my tolerance is too high. That's not going to be a fun week, but you know what? I have to do it. Um, but linear spaces and even your altar, it can be an in-between state. Now, anybody who can visualize, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be exclusive. You still, if you get your hands on it, you still need to read this book, Christopher Penczak's Temple of Witchcraft series. It is hands down one of the books, actually the first 4 books, because I haven't finished the entire series. The first 4 books is what literally helped my foundation with my personal craft from what I took by it, which is how the book is written. They're like, look, if you like this shit, then take it. If you don't like this, you can nitpick what you like. But he creates liminal. There we go. Thank you. Y'all, I spent 20 minutes trying to Google that because my fucking accent would not let me say it. Your body can be a temple without being expensive. It's all about intention. Exactly. When it comes to that, yes, it is all about intention. And listen to your body, 100%. But this new age spiritual shit that's driving me crazy because they're mixing spiritual new age mixed with this newer new age where all these shifter. Now, I will state beside this, I'm not talking bad about anybody, but some of the rhetoric that is being spread can be extremely toxic. Not just in a magical sense or a spiritual sense, in a physical sense. Certain new age things like that, the trigger warning, it can cause eating disorders, it can cause a lot of body issues, so don't go down that route. There's another book that is making the rounds. I don't know what it's called, but it kind of goes with the shifting and other dimensions. When it comes to a new age spiritualistic book, please be careful because a lot of the rhetoric that they speak in there it can make you spiral in a very bad way. If you ever need help with words, there's just special interest for me. So I got you. Oh, thank you. Yes, I used to, I have speech impediment problems with some words. The phonics, hooked on phonics did not help me in my life. um, but anything can be a sacred space. If you do not feel like, because with me, the only times at this point, the only times that I actually cast a circle is if I'm doing baneful magic. And that's primarily because my partner is highly fucking sensitive to it. To where his body will physically react. My home is kind of a circle. I made a circle for working, but my home is protected. See, I love that. And like I said, I took a college course on literature for literally no reason and other specific interest. Oh, okay. See, I like this. Yeah. This light, how these fucking YouTubers and shit like that do this shit, um, I don't understand it because fucking I am cheap as fuck and power's expensive. There we go. Power's expensive and this bitch is hot. I love it though. But anyways, it's the same thing that I said when you can actually go to a sacred space like a crossroads, a magical sacred space, a vortex, collect that dirt, and then bring it home. Yo, just sent you another TikTok follow request, so it goes to the top. Oh, I hope you see it. Okay, sweet, thank you. I thought I followed yours, but I may have looked at the right account, but I will check that as soon as I get off here. Also, announcement with that, my second TikTok 2.0 is officially public now because I'm testing the waters with making sure I don't get mass reported or anything like that. Most of that shit has been taken care of, so we're good on that, and I will be returning. I have been making TikTok content that I'll start posting when I return. I'm still working on this. That's the only damn thing I hate about TikTok. I have 204 fucking drafts. That's taking up my phone's thing. But anyways, okay. Also with that, retrograde, Mercury retrograde has officially went direct. But remember what I've always said? This is when you're going to feel it. This is when the ground and the cards are about to settle. And let me tell you, it is affecting so many fucking people. It is not even funny. It's affected me by proxy of my partner and his shithole ass company that he works for. Now, with that, though, I believe Saturn return is happening. Everybody is going to be affected by that if you were born in the United States. So just take that in mind. But remember, anything that happens, it's going to be for the better. specifically. Like, y'all know what I mean by that. I'm not saying everything that's about to happen is for the better at all. But obviously, the entire world is going topsy-turvy right now. But a literature space can be extremely powerful, especially if you are a medium, a psychic, a spiritual witch. We seriously need to come up with new terms. Regarding the heat, a lot of people just get used to it, but I've had bad timing with heat. My solve is getting myself cold before filming. Cold. See, my problem is right now, like, the house itself is normally cool. It's just where I'm filming, it's bay windows, but these windows are from like the 70s. So before they were actually like UV treated. And then we have the lake directly in front of us. Luckily though, filming wise, this is the best time because I learned when I started filming my TikToks that you can get sunburned by the light reflecting off the lake. So I'm working on that. I'm also working on getting a small fan to prop up on my window because there's no way I'm going to be able to go live with the AC running. It's noise making and it drives me crazy. I don't like labels, but Energy Witch is one that I go for myself. Oh, I love that. Retrograde Energy Death slapped me hard this week. It slapped me hard with the whole miscommunication online. And then I did feel my emotions go like up and down, but it was specifically, speaking of that, major update that I need to do. My stepfather is officially at home. The pacemaker that they put in, he's getting used to it, but he's officially been released. He's at home and he's doing 10 times much better. So that was also something that like took a huge amount of stress off of me. But it's really funny from a non-practitioner side or from a practitioner side to see somebody who, this particular person that my partner works with, he is very ego-driven. If you're in the Discord, you know what I'm trying to say. He flipped out when he found out that what I do online is about my personal practice, and he doesn't believe it. Now, for the first time in 3 years that my partner's working with him, he's finally affected by the retrogrades. And I mean, like that. So yeah, it's very weird because, but like I said though, it's this weird thing with retrogrades. You normally never understand that you're being affected by it until you actually realize it, but never hyper focus on it. I did that myself. Ego death, ego death. Yeah, there's no way he's going to be able to do an ego death. He is a textbook narcissist. I'm 21 years practicing and Mercury retrograde never hits me. Oh, there you go. It may be also in your chart too. But I've always said that retrograde is the Phoenix energy. Pluto hit me tough though, but I'm positive. Oh, okay. Pluto's interesting because, like, I don't use the term karma because here, how the Western world uses it, it's nothing like what the actual true term is. But that's one of the planets where the energy that you've sent out is going to come back to you. Holy shit, that last time, and I was in Alabama when it happened, that last time we had 8 planets going to retrograde, Pluto fucked my world up. But I also, again, if you take, not everything that's going to happen in life is a lesson, but sometimes it can be. I said that I'm opting out of retrograde. I just slapped, so now I'm just accepting the change. Exactly. That is actually the best thing that you can do, and trust me, I am one of those types of people. It doesn't matter if it's big, small, good or bad, change flips me out. It completely makes me, like, no. But I've learned that if you just accept it and go with it, with any retrograde, the more that you try to resist it, the rougher it's going to get. It's kind of just like that saying, let's just ride the waves. Because at the end of the day, always know that, like, we have thunderstorms all the time. But at the end of those thunderstorms, most of the time, the sun comes back out. Same with everything. Just like the moon, they go through phases. We as humans, especially due to the fact that the moon affects us, and every other fucking floating rock around us also affect us, we have to take that into account. But always remember as well that your spiritual journey and your witchcraft journey, it's never going to be a straight line. It's going to be like somebody got drunk and gave you a pin, and it's just, that's how magic works. That's how your spiritual journey is going to work. I used to feel very weird when I started going live because, like, if you look at some of my lives, one week I'll say, this is how I feel about that. The next week I'm like, no, this is how I feel about that. And I used to psych myself out because I'm like, well, you sound like a hypocrite. And then I'm like, no, I'm constantly evolving and changing. Thus, so is my practice. So my beliefs in those practices are. And that's what it's about. My favorite life quote: life is not about creating yourself, or life is not about finding yourself. It's about creating yourself. The moon gives me heartburn, lol. The eclipse we recently had was really powerful for me for letting go and bringing in the new. Oh, I love that. And that's exactly what eclipses do. They literally just yank out the old and in with the new. And then how I say retrogrades are, imagine you have this huge luscious garden, but there are a couple areas that these little vines, you know, the pesty ones, are creeping through, right? You accidentally let them pop up and actually grow. And what they're going to wind up doing is they're going to wind up going into... Alrighty then. They're going to wind up strangling all the other things around you. Basically, these are areas in your life that you're constantly feeding energy to, but instead of them actually throwing it back to you, they're just absorbing it, and it's not helping. So during retrogrades, that's when the giant divine hand comes in, and they're like, you know what? This is a parasitic thing that's going on right now, and you just keep feeding it, so we're going to yank that shit out, or we're going to burn it down to the ground, and we're going to make sure we get all the roots out. That way you have multiple other areas that are completely clean slate, new, fresh, ready to be planted again and to grow. And that is self-doubt. Self-doubt is just like self-hexing. It's the exact same thing. It's a snowball effect. It starts off as this tiny little seed, and then eventually, if not kept under control, it will basically just grow everywhere and just start sucking everything up and strangling it. Intentions are important in magic, but you have to put in the work. Yes, thank you so much. 100%. That is one day going to be on a shirt. Intention is a lot, depending on what you're doing. Now, when it comes to instant magic is what I call it, which is literally just setting your intent and then boom, it happens. That, on the other hand, is. But with all magic, you have to do the footwork. Whether that is actually going outside, clearing out the spot to throw your circle. That's showing the universe, because my first circle, it took 4 months and about 5 hours a day that I was working on it. And in my head, what I was doing was showing the universe that I am ready for this. I keep going back to a garden. It's basically like that. It's like holding a garden. You've got to go out there and you've got to actually get your hands dirty in the soil, connect with that earth. Let them know and let the universe know. That's what we mean by research when we say it. And I know it's annoying as fuck because we hear it so many times. But what are you doing when you research? You are physically exerting energy to try to advance, to try to better yourself and better knowledge yourself. Remember, power is knowledge. Knowledge is power. The more knowledge you have, the more power you have, because unless you get a concussion or amnesia, knowledge can never be taken away from you. Like, we don't have things like in Harry Potter where we can just extract knowledges. I wish, holy shit, if I could have anything like Harry Potter, Charmed, or anything like that, it would probably be 2 things. I wish I could teleport anywhere I wanted to, and it never go horribly wrong. And 2, I wish with a single touch of any book that I touched, all the knowledge would gain to my head. Holy shit, that would save so much time. But here we are in the mundane world. But anything can be a sacred space. I mean, literally, you know how, like, if you have a cat, try doing this, because I did it and it blew my fucking mind. Get tape, any type of tape, and tape a box on the floor. Type a square. Tape a square. Within 5 to 10 minutes, that cat is inside that box. Thus, us, we're witches, which means we can make any space into a linear space, into a in-between space, if you will. Mm-hmm. Perfect teleportation is being the kind of accent for things, being in the location you're traveling to. Exactly, that's what I'm thinking, because like in my head, to transport, I would have to also see where I'm trying to leap to. But like, oh, my cat is broken. He doesn't like boxes. Oh! Now, see, that's weird. Try a bowl or a circle. Try a circle. Now, with that, I did see something cool. Because if you're like me, if you want to create an actual perfect circle, stick a stick in the ground, tie a string to it, make sure it's not going to leeway or anything, and trace it. Another cool thing, though, get a hula hoop, cut it in half, put your protective herbs and whatever else you want to put in it, tape it back together, and boom, you have a circle, a perfect circle. I'll definitely try the circle. He loves getting into bags. Oh, I love that. That would be amazing. Save some time. It really would. It would save so much time with reading. Because, like, my only downfall with reading is due to my ADHD. And also, I want to apologize for my weirdness recently. I figured out yesterday what it is. TikTok, it's legal here. I mean, fuck. YouTube, it's legal here. I live in Florida. I am 20 fucking 9 years old. Okay. With that being said, all my medicine that I take for my anxiety and all other shit, it's all green. It's all natural, if you will. I've been cutting back on it throughout the day because I had it in my head that I have to be professional when I realized yesterday that what actually helps my ADD calm down is being blitzed out of my mind. So that's going to return. Um, but it helps me like calm my mind a little bit. So much. Yesterday I had that like perfect time of it. The hula hoop. One of mine is the ability to make a person pass out for an hour and have imminency for a prior 10 minutes. So if someone is bugging me or I screw up, I can pretty much undo it and escape. Holy shit! That could possibly be Holly. He's a very unique, non-cat-like cat. Oh, yes, yes, yes. I love that. I'm about to smoke now. Work with crystals. Yes, I love it. So yeah, that's going to go back to where I was. That way I can actually start doing things that I've been saying. But as important as it is and as hard-headed and stubborn as I am, sometimes you do just need a day just to like do absolutely nothing. Like I just binge watched, I finished it yesterday, the Stranger Things. And I knew they were going to do a fucking part 2 to the season, but it pissed me off. It pissed me off so much. And no spoilers, I'm not going to spoil anything. Although, update on Hocus Pocus. There will be a drag show in Hocus Pocus of the Sanderson sisters. It was good. It was so good. It really was. And the only problem that I have with it is I have to be able to sit my partner down and run him through 4 seasons of Stranger Things. Same. I love it so much. And when I turn back to TikTok, I'm gonna start doing reviews on it. There was another movie that we just watched. What was it? Uncharted. That is an amazing movie. Mwah, amazing. Um, I have way too much time on my hands. The twist, I saw it coming up. Same, I did too. Because like I realized something with Netflix specifically that fucked me up on all shows. I realized that every single thing that is shown or said in a show, it's foreshadowing of what's about to happen. I will state though, this is one of the cleanest side shows that I've seen completely explain a lot. There we go. Hubby saw the cheekbones and made the connection, but I saw the foreshadowing. I think it was a mixture of both for me. And then I'm going to change this up that way we don't ruin it for anybody. And then I'm going to find a way to watch the Dumbledore show. I love Johnny Depp to death, but I have to finish that movie. But yes, linear spaces, alcohol and stuff like that. Remember, what works for you, it's not going to work for everybody else. I'm trying to be so vague. Oh, I know. Yes, we totally should. Because I am obsessed with it. There's also another show that I'm very obsessed with. It's a movie. And it comes out, I think, June 10th or June 15th. It's a Netflix movie where it's the first live action, like, actual lesbian love story. But they've kind of, like, revamped it because one's I think a vampire and the other one's a slayer. Totally getting Buffy vibes from it, but I'm interested to see it. And then my favorite show returns to Hulu very soon, which is Motherland. There we go. Hocus Pocus was so good. I got to see the screening of it. Oh, that is so cool. I saw your video of it. Another thing. No, I did that yesterday. I'm trying to also make my lives new as well. What was that? Oh, okay. Well, you know. But yeah, I'm trying to change my content up a little bit and expand. But reading is my downfall because it's the only time that my mind slows down and then I wind up wanting to fall asleep. But yeah, linear spaces is not necessarily creating a sacred space, it's the in-between space. Um, and if you ever want to actually get somebody to experience magic, do a circle. I'm trying to do more advanced stuff because there's not enough on TikTok. Same, and that's what I'll eventually also be doing, but it'll just be Minecraft. And you're right, though. You're 100% right. There's not enough advanced stuff out there. Um, and it's kind of like what we talked about multiple times, where thanks to the whole trendiness of like TikToks and everything, everybody has fallen into this loop of doing the same thing over and over again. I'm trying to get myself to enjoy an audiobook so I don't fall asleep reading them. Oh, I like that. See, I like audiobooks, but I haven't found, I mean, there's audiobook the thing. I need some more. But the weird thing with me though is when I listen to an audiobook, I want the book in my hand so I can follow along with it. So it doesn't really help me. But here recently I've been getting back into just listening to podcasts. I just need to find more witchier podcasts because all the major ones that I follow, I've caught up on all of their episodes. People are scared. Beginners are going to get in trouble. Honestly, I'm to the point right now on the internet where if somebody does something and they get in trouble or they get hurt, that's on them. Because at some point in time, it's just like a bird. You're gonna have to leave the nest. Um, Not to mention, there's so much fear mongering that I've heard of people, they're waiting like 2 years before they even create an altar because they're afraid of pissing something off. And I'm like, that's not how gods and goddesses work. Like, yes, are there some that have a very, very delicate ego? Yes, there are. But it's honestly working with deities, it's all personal unverified personal experiences. That's really all it is. Um can't fly if you don't fail. Exactly. Look up Invoking Witchcraft podcast. Oh, I did. I listened to them. I'll also make a video. Yeah, I'll make a video and wind up posting it on here too of all the ones that I listened to. I recently found, I'm not going to butcher the name of it, but it's one, she's a TikTok creator and they're also a YouTuber on, they do hoodoo and stuff, but the conversations that they have are extremely interesting. With that, I will also be getting a package of a new doll that I'll be adding to my collection. And I'm interested to see what the energy that I feel from this is. But podcasts are also a great way to actually learn, depending on which one you're listening to. The author of New World Witchery, they have a podcast. There's the next one that I'm about to mention, they haven't really been doing stuff, and it's Down at the Crossroad. That was one of my favorite ones, and for some reason, they're not really doing it that much anymore. I also have an idea for a upcoming episode, but it is going to be the craziest podcast episode that I've done. Because if I can get the people to agree to it, there's going to be like 5 witches, including me, total on one episode. All talking and having conversations at the same time. And that idea was my partner. My partner looked at me and he's like, you know what? What if you get this, and this one together and talk on the podcast? So that will be coming up as well. But yeah, a lot of people also overthink it. Doing witchcraft, and it's like y'all said in the comments, flying is just falling with style. Exactly. And when it comes to witchcraft, that is literally what it is. Your entire witchcraft journey is nothing but learning what works and what doesn't work. Oh, I can't wait for that podcast. Same. I'm super fucking excited about it. And eventually that may actually also have a video to it. Because I realized that with all the apps and shit that I've deleted from my phone, I still have Zoom. And I need to start using Zoom. um, your partner is being ultra supportive of my stuff. Oh, he loves you. He does. There are multiple people that like he's been following, and then I was surprised that like when I went MIA for the first time that he was talking to you, and I'm like, well, holy shit, you're just making friends all over the place, but I love it though. But he loves your style and he loves how like you get the point across, and I love it. With that, when I return, as much as people love me to do where they tag me in videos asking me if it's okay and all this other shit, no more. I'm only going to be teaching and basically just kind of throwing and opening conversations. I kind of stepped away from that. I'm getting back to that. But I'm interested though because I will be showing things that I do in my personal practice, whether that is just giving an offering, whether that is cleansing the way that I cleanse, multiple other things. I'm also going to be going over wards, so many other things that I'm going to be going over to that I was scared of in a way the very first time, and now I'm just like, fuck this shit. Like, no. Um, and I'm definitely excited. Really fucking excited actually. And I'm hoping this will also spark that creativeness and actually like get to fucking doing things. Um but there are going to be points in times where you feel like everything has been cut off. And with that, just try to reconnect. But with that, and so many people do not say this, when it comes to trying to open your third eye and all these other things, in anything that you do in your practice, if you start getting frustrated or it starts to feel like it's a chore or it's a hassle, stop and walk away and come back. The reason that is, and was it Jake Richards or was it Aaron? I think it was Aaron, which is in Southern Cunning. He mentions that if you're going to make a staff or a wand or a magical tool, and in the process of making that magical tool, you get frustrated and you start acting like it's exactly, but it feels like you have to do this, stop. And the reason that is because things in our practice, not all of them, but a lot of them, they're supposed to be fun. You're supposed to enjoy it because you're putting that energy into it. Exactly. And you don't want that type of energy in there unless that's the way that you practice. Now, by all means, do that. Again, everybody practices differently. Now with the newer content that I'm going to start making on here, because I cannot show it on TikTok, you're also going to get to see my Athame collection. I learned something yesterday. So I have this old pair of like shears that you would use on a farm. I had no fucking idea that they used to use that in magic. But yeah, I'll be able to show you my Athame collection because I'm obsessed with blades. I have the oldest one that I have, the two oldest ones that I have were gifted to me by my father-in-law. One of them dates back to one of the, I want to say Silvol War. They're two of the oldest blades that I have. And then another one he randomly found when he was doing his job, but it's also very fucking old with a lot of energy to it. And then the biggest one that I have, my partner actually got it for me off of Groupon. And it's technically a sword. It's a has your partner looked into Egyptian magic yet? He hasn't. He's been having a lot of shit go on from work, and that work is kind of affecting that. But actually, hold on, I'll show you what I'm talking about. I have a huge blade collection, but I don't use all of my practices, but I just love them. The ones that you'll love. I'll have to take pictures. Yes, please share pictures and hold that thought. So I'm going to show y'all two things. One thing my partner made me, and yes, I do use it every now and then. I've just got to finish it. And then the other one is what he got me. It's one of the first gifts he got me for my practice. This is actually goes to a chair. But he carved this, and I'm slowly going to get him back into wood carving. But this is the wand that I use, and I don't use it all the time. There are only special occasions that I bring it out. And then this is what shocked me that he got from Groupon. It is literally a giant letter opener, but it's got designs all over it. Now, this is technically, I consider it a short-handed sword. And if you're a fire element, interesting fact, your element also can be matched with the tool. For fire, it's swords or daggers. And then chalice, obviously water. I think the wand is for earth. And I'm not actually sure what air is for. I want to say an incense, but it's not an incense. It's something else. I have a huge blade. Oh, I'm going to be getting you a jar of dirt from Niagara Falls when I go to the Pagan Festival. OMG, yes, please, please. Oh, that would be fucking amazing. I have a letter opener based on the sword from the game. Sword. Oh, I bet that bitch is beautiful. And now with this though, you do not have to like go out and get this. The cool thing with the Groupon on this one, he paid $2 for it. But another place to go to get tools like that, you are going to have to cleanse them. Antique stores, flea markets, the amazing shit that you can find there is fucking incredible. Is it in here? No, it's not. One of my celestial crystals that I got was from a thrift store. Another thing, if you make products and stuff like that and you kind of want to sell them, but you don't necessarily want to do it through Etsy, search for your local confinement shops. Especially, and if you own a physical magic shop, you need to start thinking about consignment. Blue Crystal, that is BLU without the E, and then Crystal, they do have a website, they do have a Facebook page. Most of everything in that shop that is not bought by the owner is completely 100% consignment. So, like, with them, I think it's like a 17%, but there's a percentage of basically like you're kind of just renting out that space, but it's a great way to start putting your things out there. I think I still have 1 to 2 paintings up there. And I've sold 3 so far. I also need to get back into painting, but I got other shit going on. Maybe there are a podcast he can listen to on it. That's what I'm thinking I'm going to find is a couple of podcasts, because he normally listens to music when he's at work, but I'm going to slowly try to get him into listening to this podcast. Because I know he's going to be an amazing practitioner, and it's so weird. So for all of my astrology people, get this. Without knowing it, as in we've been together almost 10 years, mine and my partner's 3 major signs match each other. They are both fire, water, and fire. No, fire, water, and earth. Which is fucking insane. But the reason I brought that up is because, so I do baneful workings, but primarily I like to do healings, connections, helping people, right? Partner, on the other hand, is going to be the exact opposite of that. He's going to be more baneful. So tell him about Scared to Death and also Box of Oddities. I'm obsessed. I have listened to Scared to Death. I'm going to take a screenshot of this. That way I can show him and remember it. I have not listened to the Oddities one, the Box of Oddities, but now I'm going to go have to listen to that one. And same, I love thrifting. Hopefully this weekend or next weekend we're going to go, because I told my partner, I was like, look, you need work clothes, and thrifting is the best place to do that at. Believe it or not, besides some of the clothings I have, most all of my clothings have always came from thrifting, because you can find a lot of good shit thrifting. Especially at like Plato's Closet and things like that. But another thing that you can also start to incorporate, now you don't really have to meditate, our visualization. You do not have to be able to visualize for this. There we go. It is kind of like a I'm earth, but related more to fire. I thrift most of my clothes and stuff too. Oh, that is awesome. And I love the fire energy so much. But going back to the Christopher Pinzak thing, and there are multiple other ones. I found a carved crystal pig at a thrift store last week. Oh, that is awesome. I love when like we randomly find certain things like that. The craziest thing I found to date so far is the coin. I found a random coin, and it took me, I think on TikTok, it took me going to TikTok to actually figure out what it is. Oh, holy shit. But it stems from Christopher Pinzak's books and multiple other practices as well. You can train your brain, and the entire point of his book, besides building the inner temple in your head, is to where you get to a point, no matter what you're doing, you can trigger that magic mind state. And you can do this with using an object, using a certain song, using a certain phrase. It's almost like hypnotherapy, as in you're not hypnotizing yourself, but you're training your brain to where when you hear that term, when you see or hold that object, it automatically puts you into that mind state to where you're kind of balanced, depending on how you do your practice, to actually do magic. And holy shit, it is so cool when you do it. And if you are a seedling or a sprout, the most magical experience, besides accidentally blurting out to somebody that you're a witch, is when you decide to say, fuck the book, I'm going to go on what's instinctual to me. Anybody can do instinctual magic. Now, I will state one thing that I have learned from the instinctual magic that I do. It's due to the fact that I've sucked in so much knowledge. But if you're like me, and most of when I go to spells, the most things that I focus on are the correspondences. Llewellyn's and I've still got to get this book. Llewellyn's has an entire book that is dedicated to correspondences. And it's not just like a cheat sheet, because you also learn different types of correspondences. And also always remember another thing to do. And before I say this, no, it is not a type of clothes. You're not culture appropriating what I'm about to say. Check out other practices and the correspondences that they use those herbs for, because it'll broaden your concept of, oh, wait, this can be used for this. And it's insane. It's fucking amazing of how you can see like so many things. And another thing that I would also encourage people to do if you live here in the United States, because most, like say the herbal book of Scott Cunningham, a lot of that is European plants. Now, obviously, we have a lot of that over here, but start looking into native plants around you. Why is this? You're also going to incorporate bioregionalism. Incorporating bioregionalism, you get to study and watch and observe your specific area, whether that's your town, just the property you live on. You observe all the wildlife, all of it, from all year around. And the reason you do this is because if you ask for a grand sign and you see a bird that you've seen 1,000 times over, is it a sign? Is it a divine meaning? But if you see an animal that you've never seen before, it could. Now, with divine meanings and divine signs, always go with the feeling as well. And it is true. Not everything we experience is a divine sign. And yes, I agree with that. Herbal books. Now, I have one that was gifted to me. It is on YouTube, but I would watch showing it online because a lot of other people may have other thoughts about it. And that is... Indian Herbology of North America. Fun fact. A lot of the herbology, magical correspondences, herbology and stuff like that, that we have in Appalachian folk magic, Southern conjure, came from Native Americans. Native Americans primarily gave us the magical correspondences and the herbal lore of what medicine, as in medicine and magical, can actually do. I recommend people make a field guide of their area, map out all the trees, bushes, and weeds, etc. Yes, I love that. And that's actually not a bad idea. And for the people that can't draw safely, make sure it's not a poisonous plant or anything. Pluck some of those things. Like pluck a little bit of them, dry them out, and just tape them into your Book of Shadows. Do I have my Book of Shadows in here? Yes, I do. Actually, I'm going to be able to show a bunch of tips really quick, because I have all of the books. I've got to find one more. I know it's... okay. Okay. So, now I understand this is going to be different. I literally look like a madman with all these damn books. I feel like I should be a fucking professor at this point. So everybody is going to be different when it comes to their Book of Shadows or their grimoires, everything like that. I have like 6 of them. I have a video on that, cough, cough. Oh, I will go check that out, actually. But I have multiple books. So right now, and shout out to Jason for sending it to me. This is the Book of Shadows that I'm using currently right now. And as you can see, it's stuffed to the brim. And then I also just recently got another one that I'm probably going to give to my partner. I don't know. Anyways. This, on the other hand, was also a Book of Shadows of mine. And you're about to see why it's so cool, right? For one, you know, Harry Potter, Deathly Hallow, right? Right? This was a birthday present for my 24th birthday. I got bored one day. And guess what I learned? The cheap paint from Dollar General can do amazing things when it comes to paint and pages. And see, I actually have recipes in there. But I went ham and just started fucking, like, just doing all different types of shit with the artwork that I had. And I mean, look at that. Is it pretty? No. But is it unique? Yes. Yes, it is. And I'm not done yet. But, like, I love this. I love doing this. But, like, my idea, obviously, my ultimate goal is to get one of the big books. But add shit. Thank y'all. But, like, add shit. Create it. Now, if you're one of those people that want everything to be pristine, by all means do that. Other than that, make that shit look like it's out of a book. I mean, out of a movie or something. You know, have actual plants taped to it. I can't with journals. My brain won't let me. I use a binder. I actually have a binder, and with this one, which is the reason it's kind of out there, actually a lot of my stickers are in here. But I love books like this. I love journals. I do not write in them like you're supposed to. And then I have another smaller one. It's like a miniature one. That's a book of recipes. So mine are different. Like with this book, it's primarily sigils. There's a couple of recipes in it. And then I'll also be adding a couple other things. Um, I believe in books or shadows is a reflection of our souls, each one specifically unique. Exactly. And there are some that will have a tarot one, as in it's an actual journey. Um, and just do with what you have. That's what I'm saying with all of this. My very first one, it's not in here. I lied. This is actually my very first book of shadows I've ever had, and it was gifted to me by my ex, Josh. Is there a year? No, there's not. No, there's not. But it actually goes over like the ethics. We have correspondences, colors, zodiac signs, magical correspondences, the full moons, other correspondences, runes, Sabbats, energy work, essential oils, cleansing ritual, my magic pea ritual. Yes, y'all heard that right. It's called magic pea because it looks like magic pea, but it's a bunch of herbs boiled together, and you're using those herbs for a face wash. You will have to keep it in the refrigerator because if not, it gets a little smelly, but it works. One of the prime ingredients in that is rosemary, because rosemary, fun fact, for hair and skin, if you have oily hair or oily skin like I do naturally, rosemary water can actually help kind of clear out or kind of balance out the oil glands with your hair and your skin. Rosemary is also great for hair because it helps grow it. Another thing that's kind of a myth, but the way that I've been doing it, I'm pretty sure it's not. I've learned that every single time I keep my hair up in a ponytail like this, it grows 10 times faster. Like right now, my hair is down to here, in the back. Yes, rosemary is my go-to tip. It helps with circulation too. See, I did not know that. Another cool thing too, if you have a blender, you could technically do this for a mortal and pedestal too. You're gonna get oatmeal, uncooked, just straight from the bag, oatmeal. You're going to pour that in a blender and you're gonna blend that shit up almost into a fine powder. The stuff that's down there, screw that. The stuff, there's going to be this rim that's going to form at the top of the blender of this thick, fine powder. If you collect that, you can use that on your skin to kind of take away some of the oiliness. It will not clog your pores and it won't really be seen, but it works tremendously and very easily. I love that. Now, there's another thing where you've seen people put cinnamon on your skin. If you put cinnamon on your skin, it's going to burn. If you have sensitive skin, it will slightly stain. So just remember that. And one of the coolest, quickest beauty techniques you can do, get some coffee grounds, get a little bit of sugar. I know some people say no because it's abrasive. Get a little bit of sugar, a little bit of wet coffee grounds. If you got a little bit of lemon juice, tiny amount in there, and then some honey. Mix that together, and then boom. Do you know who? I do not. Not off the top of my head, I do not. Hello, Mr. Woodpecker. Great face mask. Yes, it really is. And then if you really want it, experiment with it. Add a little bit of dried hibiscus to it because that will actually slightly tint your skin a little bit. Amazing though. And then the miracle oil. I'm not going to give you the full recipe of mine. Calendrial flower. Calendrial flower, interesting fact about this amazing fucking flower. It actually helps speeds up the natural healing process of our skin. So if you steep that in an oil, or I wouldn't suggest a tincture, but an oil of it, it will actually help with acne. It will help with scars over time. And what I did was I started out with a little bit of lavender and then the flowers. And then it probably has, I call it my infinity jar because I've had it for almost 10 years. And all I do is just, uh, I don't even know how to spell calendrial off the top of my head. I I use coffee grounds. They should be used once so they don't stain you, but the caffeine is good for the skin. Oh, okay. And if somebody could please put calendrial flower. Calendrial flower. I think I'm saying it wrong, but that's the flower. It's the yellow one that you see. Yes, thank you. That word. Um, but that flower right there actually helps speeds up the natural healing process. On top of this, do y'all know, have y'all ever heard the story of how like Vikings and stuff like that? Of course, used to take baths in beers. Do you want me to tell you why? The sugar and yeast. Beer can actually, and sugar, there was an incident where I got cut right here on my arm. After I cleaned it out, I actually, and I've done this multiple times, I've sprinkled pure sugar on it. The sugar and the sweetness of it actually also helps build up that natural tolerance and helps the skin naturally heal. Same with honey and same with certain beers. Also, oatmeal baths. I don't know why anybody, like I saw a video on TikTok the other day and everybody lost their shit. And I'm like, did y'all not have chicken pox when y'all were younger? Because, like, I upset someone when I told them beer is tea. It really is, though. I use sugar scrub in the shower daily. Oh, I love that. But like, believe it or not, interesting fact about me, I've medically had chicken pox over 5 times. The very last time I had it, it was a very mild case, but it was slightly severe for me. But what you do is you get a pantyhose or a sock or like an herbal little tea bag, right? You put regular oatmeal in it, and then just put it in the water and take an oatmeal bath. Your skin is going to feel so soft, and if you want an extra bang in that, it's gonna feel weird. So if you're sensitive to like sensations, test it out first, because it almost becomes like this milky layer. But once you've actually let that stuff soak, grab whatever you're putting it in and squeeze it as much as you can, and this thick, slimy looking stuff is going to come out of it. It's basically oat milk. Rub that shit all over you, and oh my god, you're going to be naturally glowing for days. Unless you're allergic. Please don't. Oatmeal baths are amazing for sunburn too. Yes, it takes the like sun poison out of it. I learned that from my mom. She does not do well in sun. I've had it once as a young kid. I cannot scratch, so my parents tape oven mitts on my hands. Nope, they did the same thing for me. I actually have, I don't know if you can see it on camera. I have a scar right here, and I have a scar somewhere over here because of that. And then I loved it though, because my Aunt May always watched me when I had it, and she would be kind of strict until everybody left to go to work. And then she's like, all right, candy's in the refrigerator, your strawberry soda's in the refrigerator, you got oatmeal over there when you need to take your bath. Just be quiet when my stories come on. So that's how I actually grew up watching soap operas, was because of that. Um, but I loved it. Weirdly enough, I loved it. I still do not know if strawberry soda actually does help with chickenpox or not. But yeah. So interesting fact, you can get chickenpox more than once. Yes, Passions. That's what I used to watch. She loved General Hospital. I could not stand it, to be honest. But Passions, oh my god, that was my shit. And I really wish they would redo that, but not like end it the way that they ended it, because that was just when they started doing the dancing scenes. I'm like, this is not Broadway. Go the fuck on somewhere. Um, but believe it or not, and here's something to fuck with other people. If you love the Vampire Diaries, the originals, those are basically modern day soap operas. I love Passions. Timmy, yes! That was the NBC thing. Oh, I know, they ruined it a little bit. Hello! Um, but yeah, interesting fact. The Vampire Diaries and a lot of shows that are on the CWs, they're actually modern day soap operas. Um, so, which I don't know what the CW is doing right now. They need to start focusing on better shows or more shows. But anyways, yeah, there's you some beauty hacks as well. And I use them every other time. Um, what was I about to say? Another thing, if you like taking milk baths, but you don't necessarily want to actually go out and spend $5 to $8 on a thing of milk, go to your local Dollar Tree. Your local Dollar Tree has bags of 2% powdered milk. You can use that in your bath supplies as well. I actually have like 4 packages of milk baths that I've not been able to use yet because our bathtub sucks with actually being able to take a shower or a bath. But yeah, those are simple techniques that you can do. And remember, if you work with a deity and you do one of those baths, like those beauty baths, or even yourself, and if you do not have an altar for yourself, you should totally set one up, or a sacred space specifically dedicated for you. You can dedicate that action of what you're doing to the energies that you work with. Because no matter who you're working with, spirit guides, ancestors, deities, they're still going to want you to be better. They want you to be healthy. They want you to, like a lot of people who work with Lucifer. I've always heard the same thing, which is Lucifer helps a lot of people with self love and self acceptance. And those two go hand in hand. You have to be able to accept yourself. And I'm saying this as a hypocrite because I work on self love every single day. Some days are good, other days are bad. Um, but also with that little whole, well, you can't love somebody else until you love yourself. That's bullshit. I could not stand myself. I could not stand myself at all until I got with my partner, and with him showing me unconditional love, and I know there's a lot of controversy behind that term. He helped me also learn that if he can loves me, if anybody else can love me and handle me when I'm at my worst, when it comes to my bipolar, my mental health, then why the fuck can I not love myself? So it definitely helps. Trust me, it does. Um, Add herbs to the milk bath that correspond with your spirits. Yes, see, I love this. And like magic things like that. And then what I do actually is after, like, if I make a cup of herbal tea, I will actually save those herbal teas, dry it out, and either I just randomly throw it outside as compost. And normally, how I compost things, or even if I have leftover like vegetables or food or anything like that, this is a small thing that I do in my practice, but it benefits a lot. I came up with this thing, which basically when I threw leftovers or anything that's biodegradable, I say thank you so much for helping me, or thank you so much, but return to the earth by which thy came. Because to me, it's like that cycle. It's like the cycle of life and death. Use tea bags or cheesecloths for your herbs so you don't have a mess to clean up in the regular drain. Yes, definitely that. Because trust me, I took one with rose petals, and I was like, for the week after that, I was picking rose petals out of my hair. It was cool, but no. I reuse tea bags in my bath later and then toss it out of my garden afterwards. Oh, I love that. I love that. I've been using I've actually got to check with them. The Mindful Souls box that I got, the bags that they send, they're reusable and they can be reused as tea bags. My only issue with that is there is a label printed on it. So I've got to check with them to see if that's toxic or not. But luckily I have a tea ball that I also use. I actually got herbal tea that I got to try today. I need to try it because I haven't tried it before. Um, but you can do a lot with a lot of the things that are leftovers, like eggshells, protection powder. What was I about to say? Oh, if you want to amaze your kids and amaze anybody else, but also feel extra witchiness, if you can. Now, you can actually go down the homemade route, but I would be extremely careful with doing this because some of the ingredients can be extremely toxic, I believe. I'm not for sure. Amazon has these packages called Rainbow Fire. They're basically just a bunch of minerals and other things that like alter the flame chemically wise that you can get and throw in there, and then boom. Have you tried the thing I sent you? No, not yet. But hopefully I've got to get 3 of the ingredients on there. Hopefully I'll be able to do that this weekend, and once I do, that's what I'm going to do this weekend as well. Um, Orange and banana pills can be used for so much. Ooh. And say my partner got one for his birthday, got a box of them, and I loved it. It made me feel so witchy. Oh, it made me feel so witchy. Because I also cut one open, and then when I was doing the actual fire outside, I would randomly pick it up and just throw it in there, and it'd go all. I love it. Um, but yeah, I think that's what day are you returning to TikTok? I'm hopefully going to return not this coming Monday, but that Friday, because if I calculated it correctly, it would have been a full 2 weeks. And I'm gonna come back. I'll start doing my lives again. Um, I think that's when I'm gonna come back next Friday because it should be a 2 week time period. And I still scroll through, but I did need that break of being able to like step away, not have the pressure of having to constantly do it. Also, if you want to build your following, At least post 3 videos a day at different times. With me and where I'm living now, 9 a.m., around 8 and 9 a.m., everybody's waking up, going to school, going to work. Normally those videos go good. The afternoons of 50/50, and then anything posted after 4 or 5 normally go really good. And then between 11 and 12, sometimes 10, it depends on the day. But use your analytics on your profile to see when your followers are more active in the time frame they're more active. So what I do in the morning times, because normally I get up between 6 and 7 o'clock every morning, including the weekends, as much as I fucking hate it. I will post as many videos or make as many videos as I can, and then just save those bitches to drafts. And then periodically do it. And one thing I wish they would do would be like to where you can just copy and paste all the fucking hashtags you use. I need to start doing that. That's another tip. That way, have it saved in your notebook or like somewhere on your phone. That way, if you don't have the spoons to actually like put all the hashtags and all the other shit, do that. If you don't want to do all those hashtags, create your own hashtag. You will thank me later. My hashtag Lotus Magic is over 1 million. My mom loved those. Oh, yay. But yeah, create your own hashtag. One of the cool reasons that you also create your own hashtag is when you create that hashtag, like if you go to Loaded Magic right now, it pulls up all of my most viewed videos, but it also chronologically orders them by view. But it's a quick and easy way. She would throw them on our bonfires. Yes, I love working with them because as a kid, it makes things so much more magical. Um, but with the hashtags though, it's also an easier way to tell people to check you out. So instead of necessarily telling them your like screen name, just be like, yo, just type in the hashtag Lotus Magic. I've created Lotus Magic, Lotus Hollow. I don't know if I actually created, I think it's Appalachia or it's Southern Conjure. One of them that I use constantly, nobody else really uses. Um, and then I encourage everybody else to use them. Like, use the Lotus Hollow one. But I like it because you can actually just use that one hashtag after it starts getting views. There are multiple witches that I know, they only use their hashtags and they're gaining in followers. Um, so, and at the end of the day, always remember this. You do not have to have a niche to be on fucking TikTok or any other platform. Remember, your content, your energy attracts the people and the community that you want to build. So please always remember that your energy, they're gonna, and I have to remind myself of this all the time because I get caught on like doing the most trendy videos to make sure people actually know. But if you follow me on TikTok or if you follow me on here, you know that I don't just necessarily stick to witchcraft. I'm kind of all over the board because I'm a magpie when it comes to shit. I cannot stay on one lane. I want to try them all in some way, shape, or form. Not close practices, people. And I'm not going to talk on that because I've already made 3 different lives talking about that. Um, but with that being said, I'm probably going to let this go because I have to eat. I also have a few emails to read and or to respond to, and then messages. Magpies are amazing. They really are. And then I just found out I'm a dummy. Not really, but I'm still a dummy. I had no idea that killdeers actually lived here in Florida, and my partner heard one the other day. So now I'm on the lookout for a killdeer to see if we actually have one because they're fucking amazing. Because in the process of building a relationship with crows, now I have a relationship with a very, very friendly mockingbird, as in it gets very close to me and will not flinch. And then we have a big ass blue jay, like 1 or 2 robins, and 2 woodpeckers that are, if I do not have food out there, they're screaming at me. My neighbors think I'm crazy, but I'm just magical. But yeah, that's going to be that. Next Wednesday, like I said, I do have an episode to do. Yes, and it's so weird too because all I do is just leave them cat food. Yes, I am that person. I do not feed birds bird feed. I just feed them cat food. And sometimes some leftovers. And it's funny though, and I have gotten gifts. I have an entire little thing of just sticks, moss, and twigs is what I've been brought so far. And the only reason I know this is because I clear out that space. It's nothing but sand, but it's so cute because after I feed them and they like eating everything, I can go back to give them more food, and you see all the little crow prints everywhere. It's so adorable. But yeah, that's my plans for this time. Depending on how this weekend goes, I may do a weekend live here. It may be like after hours or just like a very relaxed, chilled one. Um, I don't know if my partner's going to be working this weekend, and if he is, more than likely I'll go in with them just so I can also get out of the house. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. Um, like I said, I should be fully returning back to TikTok on next Friday. I have an interview this coming Wednesday, and then I have another interview that following Wednesday. But anyways, so yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this energy that is currently going on right now. We're still in the shadow period of retrograde, Mercury retrograde. So make sure you are still keeping that communication and making sure it's like, clear. But yeah, until then, I love you all. Thank y'all so much for the followers. We're almost at 2 milestones. We're almost at 600 subscribers here on YouTube, and I'm very, very close to breaking 300 videos here on YouTube, which is fucking mind blowing. But yeah, until then, I will talk to y'all later, and I'll randomly, periodically be in and out of Discord today and answering messages and stuff like that. But until then, I will talk to y'all later. Also, if you ever have a magical question to ask me, direct message me, not direct message me, send me an email at firelotusthewitch@gmail.com. Put the subject like magical question, magical court, magical, anything like that. So yeah, but until then, blessed be. I love you all, and peace.